Hello, everyone. I wonder, has it ever struck you that the simple ability to eat your breakfast is something amazing and is a real privilege? In the nursing home where I work, something that you'll quite often see around breakfast time is someone sitting there with a plate in front of them and toast on it. And they're hungry, they haven't eaten since the night before, and the toast is there in front of them and they want to eat it. But for some reason their brain just can't quite get round to working out how to go about picking up that piece of toast and putting it in their mouth. They can't get their head around it. And so I think for me, when I'm on shift, if I see someone in that situation, you kind of quickly and with as much dignity as you can help them eat their breakfast. And so you don't really think about it. But I guess when I get home and stop and think, and when I eat my own breakfast, you kind of think, actually, yeah, that ability to pick up a piece of toast and put it in my mouth is really special. And not everybody's able to do that. It's actually a real privilege to be able to do that. And I think there's a similarity for me. So I grew up, my mum and dad were missionaries, and so as a kid I'd go around a lot of churches and you'd hear the Christian message repeated quite a lot. And I believe the Christian message. I am a Christian myself. But I still get a little bit desensitized, I think, to some of the amazing things in Christianity just because they're repeated so much. So like, for example, this morning I was reading in John's Gospel, chapter 5, verse 24, and Jesus is talking to a crowd and he says this: "I tell you the truth, those who listen to my message and believe in God who sent me have eternal life. They will never be condemned for their sins, but they have already passed from death into life." And I think because of my childhood in Christianity, and I've probably heard that very verse several times already, it does have a tendency to kind of wash over me and I don't really take it in. When I'm reading it early in the morning and I haven't quite woken up yet, it's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, same old Christian message. But actually, if you stop, and I've been trying to do that today, if you stop and think about it, the truths in here are enormous. I tell you the truth, those who listen to my message and believe in God who sent me have eternal life. They will never be condemned for their sins, but they have already passed from death into life. Like massive, massive things. And I get a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that I'm so desensitized to those things. I just let them wash over me. I think it's a little bit like eating breakfast, because I've done it so many times, because it's so normal to me. I do it maybe rushing to get ready for work. I don't actually think about how wonderful it is to be able to put a piece of toast in my mouth. And I think the same goes for the truth I live my life by. I'm so used to it being the truth and it being normal, and actually being around a lot of people who know it already, that I don't stop and value it as precious. And I think one thing that changes that is being around people who don't have that. So being around people who can't eat breakfast by themselves helps me appreciate that I can. And I think spending time with people who don't know what's going to happen to them when they die, or people who believe in God and don't know what's going to happen about the wrongdoing in their life, the sin in their life, I think that can really help in appreciating how wonderful this stuff is. So I guess an encouragement would be, number one, stop and think about how, I guess if you read the Bible today, stop and think about how wonderful the things you're reading actually are. Maybe you've read those things hundreds of times, and if it is something that just washes over you, maybe try and stop and think, well, actually, am I letting this just wash over me, or is this actually something I need to re-remember? And number two is an encouragement to spend time with people for whom that stuff is new news, who aren't aware of what Jesus has done, who aren't aware of how to live eternally, have new life now. And I know this is something I struggle with. I struggle, like at work, there are many people who don't know Jesus. It just becomes so normal to me. But I guess it's just a reminder that the thing that we carry is precious and valuable, and there are many people out there who would love to know the truths that we know and love to live in that truth. So bless you all. It's something I struggle with, but I hope today is a day of reappreciating the wonderful things we have in our lives, including the good news that in Jesus we have forgiveness of sin and eternal life. So God bless you.